This is another one where I can see this. Oezdemir gets in there. He hurts Paul Craig. Paul Craig falls onto his back and invites him into his guard. Now, the question is, does he indulge in that? And does he jump into his guard to try to finish him and get submitted? Or does he say, stand back up? Let's do it. Let's fight. Let's scrap like men. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, jiu-jitsu. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying. So if you look at the last two fights, Volkan Oezdemir, he gets knocked out by Yuri Prochazka, and then he gets decisioned by Magomed Ankalaev. But he made that Ankalaev fight a lot closer than people would imagine, right? So it was not like this runaway type situation. The last loss before that was to Dominic Reyes, a split decision. But he has a knockout win over Ilir Latifi, which is very impressive, and a split decision win against Alexander Rakic, which is also important because Rakic managed to take Oezdemir down and still win the fight. So for Paul Craig, what are we looking at? 4-fight win streak after that draw against Shogun Rua, right? You got Gadzhi Antagulov, submitted him with a triangle. Shogun Rua subbed him to punches, right? Tap to punches. Jamal Hill, snap tap or nap or whatever, nap tap snap. Listen, knockout round 1, punches. But it was really a broken fucking arm, dislocated arm. And then Nikita Krylov, the first round submission, man. So this is one of those spots where it's like if you fall into his guard, bad things are going to happen to you. And this happened time and time again. 13 submission wins, 3 knockouts for Paul Craig. No decisions for Paul Craig. Now, if you're Volkan Oezdemir, 12 knockouts, 1 submission, 4 decisions. Kind of a little more well-rounded for Volkan Oezdemir. So my question to you here, AJ, does Paul Craig last long enough to be able to utilize his jiu-jitsu against Volkan Oezdemir? Because clearly the striking is 2 different levels. Oezdemir is a high-level striker. And then you got Paul Craig, who uses his striking to initiate his submissions, his grappling. So talk to me, brother. Do you think that he can last?
The problem that worries me is Volkan Oezdemir. He likes to stalk you down while he's on the front foot. And all that means is he's less elusive on the retreat. So therefore, Paul Craig can work the striking like he likes to, and then get up close, get the clinch in, and then either work a takedown or just roll into guard like he has in a lot of his fights, man. And that's what worries me for Oezdemir in this fight. Not so much the fact that if he does drop Paul Craig, that Oezdemir is just going to jump into the guard, because I don't think so. I think if you do just any sort of research at all on Paul Craig, you realize I don't want to be on the ground in this dude's guard, having him set up things. If you go back and look at the Jamal Hill fight, Jamal thought like literally he was defending the wrong arm. Like he was defending the right arm. I forget if it was right or the left, but he was defending the wrong arm, and Paul Craig was like, oh, duh, like I'll take the other one. I'm just taking both of them home with me. And that's the scary thing about Paul Craig, is he can adjust on the fly just like that, and things are over fast. Now, Oezdemir, like I said, big, powerful. If he can keep things on the feet, he does have a very big advantage, but do you see him also keeping things on the feet here, Derek? Me, personally, it's a pretty big stretch. What do you think?
I think he can, man. He has been taken down quite a bit in his last 5, right? But I think he can, because Paul Craig is not the best blast double specialist wrestler, right? A lot of it comes in the form of, I got knocked down and now I'm pulling guard, right? Or I'm going to clinch up with you and I'm going to pull guard. Is a pulling guard the same thing as a takedown? No, it's pulling guard, right? But if you're Paul Craig, it might as well be the equivalent of a takedown, because that's when you start wrapping him up. So I think Volkan Oezdemir, man, it's in his best interest to keep the fight elusive, right? To try to pick him apart, stalk him, but also stay away to be able to last at least go 2 rounds. Wait till you're sweaty and slippery before the submission stuff starts happening, because when you're dry, it's almost a guaranteed submission right there. So here's the thing. Paul Craig is a plus 125 underdog for a reason. I agree with the odds here. I think he is the underdog in this fight. I think if Volkan Oezdemir can truly effectively work his game plan, he can walk out with a TKO in this fight. But Paul Craig, man, it's just like the last fight and the fight before and the fight before. It's just like you can keep betting against the man, and you can keep losing. And then you can keep asking yourself, damn, Paul Craig really submitted another dude? Damn, he got on top of him and he ground and pound finished him. His grappling is just too high level, brother. And we've just seen it time and time again. So give me, aside from a submission, is there any way Paul Craig could win this fight? Because that's where you start playing with fire, is saying that it's like, well, if he could really only win by submission and we're so heavy on Paul Craig, what happens if that doesn't come around, man? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard too, because like you said, Derek, Paul Craig isn't the blast double specialist. He's not going to be the one putting people on his butt. He's going to be the one getting onto his guard and then working for something that's advantageous to him. How many times have we seen the same thing happen where a fighter does that? They're working for submissions. They're trying. They're moving. And either one, which always makes me upset when you hear the ref say, come on, keep it working. Keep it working. You got to advance. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are people doing? Or two, The judges give zero. They give zero points if you're on your back the whole time, whether if you have people in danger or not.
Yeah.
All they see is position over submission. So not really. I mean, I don't really see another way for Paul Craig to win besides submission, unless he's working stuff off the top. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
So we already know the cat's out the bag. We're both going for Paul Craig here. Are you worried about this pick?
Not as worried as him about that main card pick, but no, I do. Yeah, I think this one's a little bit more of a lock for me. And I think what's nice is Paul Craig gets a chance to show he's also got hands because he's a dog. He's down to brawl. He's a dog in the cage. And I think he's going to have a chance to highlight the hands just a little bit more. And then if he needs to, revert back down to that submission. So I'm not too worried. What about you?
I'm a little worried. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little worried, bro. I think Volkan Oezdemir could like knock Paul Craig out, and then we'd all be like, "Damn, how did we not pick Volkan Oezdemir? Like we thought he was washed up because he lost to Magomed Ankalaev and Yuri Prochazka." Another time with the recency bias, right? Because Oezdemir is in good form right now. So, folks, I will give you that transparency. I am worried, and I would not throw all your eggs in one basket on Paul Craig. I would even hedge a little bit in favor of Volkan Oezdemir TKO with that plus 125 prop. I would hedge because that's juicy right there, right? But I will be honest with you. I did throw money down on that plus 250 submission for Paul Craig right there. You know what I mean? You have to. It's almost like it's death taxes Paul Craig submission, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, come on, this is what we do. So clearly, this is how the fight's gonna play out. I like Paul Craig submission, and if we're looking at the over and under here, we are looking at 2.5 rounds. So I like clearly the under for Paul Craig. What do you like, brother?
Yeah, me too. I'm surprised it's even 2.5 rounds. Well, he is the underdog, so I guess I'm not too surprised. Yeah, I'm going Paul Craig submission, early round 2 as well.
And just to be fair, just because the over and under is 2.5 rounds does not mean that the odds makers think that it's going to go over, right? Because the under for 2.5 is minus 185. So they think that it's going to be under, but that's just where they set it for whatever reason. I think it should be 1.5 personally, but you know, that's neither here nor there. So, all right, folks, if everything goes accordingly, we're going to have a very finish intensive main card on our hands. UFC London, it better deliver, but it should be good fun either way, especially that main event. If that's all you're tuning into, the main event should do it for you, but we got a lot of great fights here, folks. So